So that began the next 4 days of intense wave-like encounter with glory that was manifested in my spirit. The way this worked I would go around the house with the weight of God's presence in my spirit and breathe heavily. Like I couldn't help do this. As I'm breathing, the Lord's saying, I'm releasing my spirit in the atmosphere around you right now. I was like, whoa, like heavy, you know? And then I would be sometimes moved into almost what felt like travail, like where like I would just, you know, get into like a fetal position, and like the glory of God was like just doing things. As this was happening, sometimes I would get so intense into this glory that I would see things in the spirit that I saw were going to happen in the natural. I saw how revival came to our community, and it was something so simple as holding up a sign saying, we believe in your greatness, don't trade it for drugs. I saw people standing behind the sign, and then all of a sudden hearts, after months or weeks of this, began to melt at the truth that they were born for greatness. That greatness is Christ in them. They were born for something that they were trading. And God began to come alive through the simple statement that was being held, this banner in the name of our God. I also saw a prophetic word for a church that was like a heavy prophetic word for a generation. I'm not going to go make it happen. It has to happen according to the will of God. But I saw things like that. And Jesus, you know, it's in the Word. It's like he saw Philip or Nathaniel while he was sitting underneath a fig tree. So as I was in the deep place of this glory, I saw things. Now, also, when I came out of that deep place and I was just kind of walking around, I looked at the world in a whole different light. I could see that I didn't have intimacy with my children or my wife. I could see that that there was an offense in their spirit against me, specifically Aaron, my younger son, and Alima, and I felt like it was because of some things that I had sown previously in our relationship. And so what the Lord was doing was he was calling through me to them to call them back to intimacy with me. So I was partnering with this glory by saying, by tickling them or doing things that I normally wouldn't do. Like I was dying to myself in ways, but I was calling back to them through this death of myself for the sake of intimacy. And after several days of doing that, my son, who wouldn't even say I love you to me, when I tucked him into bed, I said, I love you, Aaron. And he said, I love you too, Daddy. And it was like, yes, we found intimacy, you know. And I have another son who's kind of pursuing his own way right now. And there's something that came alive in my heart for him as well, where it was like, we're supposed to be one. We're supposed to be together as a unit. We're supposed to have intimacy. So I make a call, because I just had the thought a day after my 35th birthday to go get this spot checked out on my cheek, because it was concerning my wife. And so I go up there, and sure enough, the doctor looks at it and says, yeah, that's probably cancer. We need to take that out. And the glory of God was already so like, I'm just slightly dizzy already. So now I've got the lights in my face. I'm like thinking I'm going to die. And so I just like pass out in the office of this guy. Of course, they've got oxygen, and next thing you know, I'm waking up with oxygen in my nose and just like, whoa. So anyway, I tell the doctor to remove it all, and they're really good about it, and they take care of it. And they're like, are you sure you can drive home? And I'm like, yeah. And so I'm driving home and talking to my parents, because at this point I've already kind of shared with people I'm going to die for my faith. I realize that now. And of course people are like, oh, what's going on with Peter? He's going out there. And so I'm on the phone with my parents, like, because they want to hear about what's going on. And as I'm on the phone, I'm just beginning to confess some sins that happened while I was underneath their house. And I'm realizing, like, I thought I'd already taken care of some of those things, but the Lord was like, he was like literally in my temple, and he was like pushing over tables, and just like stuff was just happening, coming out of me, because the glory of God was so heavy in me. And it was like I was just ministering to the glory, and stuff was happening. Confessions were being made, you know, because I was realizing, like, you know, I was going to die for this thing. So all the things that I thought were important, or that I was working towards, didn't matter. I didn't want to work. I wanted to spend time with my family. What was important was highlighted, and what was not essential wasn't even a desire. That's what was happening.